Welcome everybody to the Digital Desert Gaming Podcast. I am your host Josh, and this is episode 1, my pilot episode of my new podcast. This is just going to be your standard gaming podcast, mostly cut out all the bullshit, not going to be an hour long, not going to be 2. It's going to be nice, concise, 20 minute, 30 minute maybe, depending on how far I get into my topics. Got a few segments I just want to start on, but before that I guess I should probably introduce myself a little more. So I am a PC gamer in university right now. I know a lot of people out there, mostly if they listen to a gaming podcast, they're probably PS4, Xbox One, or Switch, of course, now that that's a pretty big thing. I am a PlayStation guy in my past. I kind of missed the whole golden age of gaming with the PlayStation 1 and N64, so I started right about where the PS2 was. So I was a PS2 guy, you know, playing Burnout 3 Takedown, one of my favorite games on there. I played a lot of PS2. Where I played my most console games was definitely PlayStation 3. And then I kind of transitioned away into PC. Once I saw somebody building a PC, I said, super cool, let me try it out. I now have a PS4. I just got that gifted to me, actually, so I wasn't originally going to go purchase it, so gifting was a nice thing. But yeah, I'm pretty much just a gamer at heart. That's what I like to do. There's not really much else I do. I work on cars, do schoolwork, but yeah, all in all, pretty much just gaming is my life, you know? So I'm going to go into a couple segments that I wanted to do. So when I started this podcast, I kind of wanted to stay away from a lot of drama in the game industry. I don't want to be like on top of the forefront with all these dramatic events. Honestly, nobody cares about it. If you're a real gamer, you play the games, you don't get too crazy into the drama. So if that's what you're looking for, wrong podcast for you here. I'm going to be going into a lot of like fun topics, you know? So I'm going to be doing new games, so new upcoming games that you guys might want to take a look at. We'll kind of look at some trailers, see if they're good, if they're not. Maybe a little drama in there, sneak it in every once in a while. Another topic I want to always hit on is free games. Who doesn't like free stuff, right? So I'm going to be going into free games that I know are out now, or opportunities to play a free game. Now, I'll kind of keep up, you know, there's a lot of free games out there that people don't know about. I also want to do retro game of the day. So if you like older games, I'm a guy that kind of likes retro stuff, so I like old games, old movies. I like older stuff. It's just interesting to me. So I'm going to be going into a retro game that I like playing, and then I usually will plan on having 1 or 2 hot topics that I want to talk about that don't really have anything to do with like a strict, I don't know how to say, a strict idea of what I'm doing. It's more just kind of like open-ended question. So new games for February, so I'm going to be hitting on 4 that I am personally interested in for different reasons. We're going to be going into Anthem, which is a new EA game, kind of like a Destiny-esque kind of RPG type game. Far Cry New Dawn, which is your kind of copy-paste Far Cry game, Ubisoft. Trials Rising. Now, I for one loved Trials Evolution, and I, to an extent, enjoyed Trials Fusion, even though it got some hate, and then Metro Exodus. So I'm going to play a couple little clips here, just seeing what the games are about. One game I will not have a trailer for is Trials Rising, because Trials Rising is kind of more like you see it more than you hear it. If you know you were to hear a trailer, all you're going to hear is motorcycle noises. So, I mean, that doesn't really make sense to play that for you guys. So, we're going to go ahead and get started in Anthem. So, this is a game I've been kind of iffy on. So, I'll play about a minute of the trailer, and then you can kind of see how you feel about it. Maybe look into it if you like it. So, here we go.
I have seen the power of the Anthem destroy entire civilizations.
You have no idea what the Heart of Rage can do to that person.
I feel a new
world. It's calling me.
For generations, our people struggled just to survive.
Heading out.
Let's go!
The javelins allowed us to fight back the chaos. And the walls protected our families, loved ones.
Remember, we're a team. I'm right there with you.
It's a freelancer job. Always has been.
But the anthem still rages. And walls can only do so much.
So that was just a little bit of Anthem. So
Be gone, fuck!
yeah, that's how I feel about this game. I am, for one, not very excited for it. It looks like a very generic sci-fi game. Especially at the end of the trailer, it almost looks like they use the warp abilities from Destiny 2 and just channeled that into, I'm guessing, the main antagonist. So it's like, it's EA, so what are you gonna expect? I mean, do you think they're gonna make a good game?
Wrong.
Wrong, definitely wrong. There's been so much drama going on with EA, and like I said, I'm not gonna go too crazy into it. I'll kind of go off on a tangent right now for a minute. They ruined SimCity. Battlefront and Battlefront 2 is kind of a mess. More Battlefront 2 than Battlefront. They had the whole Mass Effect Mass Effect series, but specifically Andromeda they really dropped the ball on. They're just kind of known for taking a good game series and making it bad. So I know this is a new IP, but I'm not very excited for it, and I'm going to be honest, I probably will not pick it up. It just looks like another hop in a robot suit, or mech suit, whatever you want to call it. Shoot some bad guys, call it a day, protect a city. I mean, that sounds kind of like Destiny, but without the mech suits. I'm a little iffy on that. We'll go on to another one, Far Cry New Dawn. Now, I've played Far Cry 3. I've played the Trials Blood Dragon, which was like a pretty interesting Far Cry Trials Evolution mix-up, and I've played Far Cry 4. I loved Far Cry 3, probably one of my top favorite games. Far Cry 4 was a super big letdown. I was very upset that all they did, so you picture Far Cry 3, right? Where you have different locations of the map, you climb a tower, explore the area from there, and you fight bad guys, blah blah blah, use vehicles, whatever. Far Cry 4 takes that same mechanic without changing a thing and puts a snowy Nepal map skin over it. That's all it is. You have same kind of idea for the story. You got a bad guy, oh no, he's coming after me, okay, now I gotta fight through this island of people, that type of thing. Even the same watchtower mechanic. You climb a tower, look at the map, you've opened up a new part of the map. They couldn't even change that. It just felt very lazy in its game design. I wasn't that accepting of trying to play that game fully. I honestly got about an hour or two into it before I said, this is the same, it's boring. I don't like it at all. So that's my idea. But this one looks different. So we're going to go ahead and listen to the trailer for Far Cry New Dawn. I think this might actually be something I'm going to look into. The idea behind it is a nuclear apocalypse. Sounds a lot like Fallout, but it's society trying to make a comeback after the bombs. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. And we're going to maybe see if it's worth investing in. So let me go ahead and play that for you.
I was 6 years old the first time I saw the sun. It wasn't always easy, but for a time, there was peace and prosperity. But it all went horribly wrong.
Power is the new currency. And thanks to your weakness, it's easy to get rich.
We need people and resources.
What about that group in the north, New Eden?
A deal with New Eden is a deal with the devil.
After all I've done, and after all we've been through, you've come seeking help from me? You must be truly terrified.
Here's to hope. I'm gonna spend all night wiping those hopes and dreams off my boots.
So yeah, it looks pretty interesting actually. So I know you can't see through, the radio obviously, but the idea behind this story kind of takes a much more interesting turn away from the typical one protagonist versus one antagonist in most of the Far Cry series. This one looks like a mixture of different civilizations trying to make it in this post-apocalyptic world. You have what looks like will probably be your group, which is a protagonist group, assumingly, and they look like they're more going to be the peaceful type, or originally they were, until this antagonist group, which looks like just a bunch of bikers and hoodlums, and they just want to kill people and have fun with violence, I guess. That's really what I got from the trailer, and it looks like your group is trying to find this group called New Eden, and they're going to try to, kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, that type of thing. So they don't really like New Eden, it sounds like, because, it's a deal with the devil, apparently. But if it's best for both of them, they'll make it work. I'm kind of interested. It sounds cool. It really does. I'm going to have to definitely give it a second try after Far Cry 4, and maybe see if this is worth picking up. I'm going to give it an S score. We'll see how the reviews kind of come out. This next one, Metro Exodus. I have played a little bit of the Metro series. I played Last Light, I believe. I played through about half the campaign. It wasn't that I lost interest, I just kind of found other games to play, and I never actually got around to finishing it. This one looks great. It really does. It looks like there's going to be a pretty big focus on story, and I'm not sure if this is true, but I heard it was going to be an MMO, so having a deeper story is going to be kind of cool, because a lot of MMOs focus on a story that's driven by the players rather than a campaignish type story, if that makes sense. So we're going to give a listen to the last final trailer here, and we're going to see how it kind of plays out.
The sun on my face, fresh air in my lungs, the grass beneath my feet. I'd heard of such things, yet I lived in a world without them. An underground world. I have no recollection of life before the blast.
There's only Metro, nothing else.
Just a girl when the bombs fell.
You were right all along. It's not just Russia out there. It's the whole world.
Could such things exist again? I live in hope.
Your hands slay the enemy's servants with no rest or mercy! the people I have to work with here. Complete and utter degradation. We are the government you people deserve.
I'll drown you in your own blood!
So you do understand. There is no other way. Man is a beast. A beast!
Who are those people trying to kill us?
It's the strongest who survives!
But don't you see what you're doing to my daughter? Your wife?
You're not saving anyone!
I live in hope. But the future is still all I fear.
So that was Metro Exodus. It's super cool. When I was playing Metro, it was a very depressing experience, and I think that's what they were kind of looking for. Not like the game was depressing, but the environment was just, it really weighed down on you, and I think that's what they were looking for. You were always in this dark, murky underground. Your main idea is that you are a survivor of some kind of, I never actually got into the lore of the game because I was just trying it out, but you're a survivor of some sort of apocalypse. I don't know if it was nuclear bombs or if this was some kind of otherworldly kind of experiment on Earth. Again, like I said, I haven't really looked at the lore. All I know is that there's now mutated creatures outside, and the only way you could survive for the most part is to go underground. So Metro Last Light was in Russia, the one that I played, and you are in these underground networks of subways, and these subways are filled with different types of people. You got Nazis, you got just regular Russian people, and then you got a few other different kind of factions, and it's always just so, like, you're in close quarters and you never know what's coming, and it's dark and murky, and I kind of like that they're bringing it up out of the subway system. I would like to see how the world is outside of Russia. It looks like they're expanding on that, so they're going to be going into different parts, hopefully, of the world. It looks like there's a lot of train action going on. Maybe they're taking a train across Europe, maybe going into Asia, not really sure. Sorry, water break there. And the next game I want to go into is Trials Rising. Now, Trials is a game that's much like the old Flash games that you would play on, like Congregate or Armor games, where you would, it's a physics-based game, and it's 2D, it's a 2D type game where you control a motorcycle, and you control the throttle, brake, and leaning allows you to get over obstacles or to land correctly. Trials took it a step above just the simple Flash game. So they have these 2.5D kind of environments where, yeah, it's a 2D side-scroller type of game, but in the background you get a lot of different perspectives. So it looks like you're in a 3D track. Let's say if it was like a racetrack, or sometimes it's in these random environments, but you're definitely on a 2D track. There's no deviating front to back, it's only side to side. The environments, I gotta say, in the Trials games, especially Trials Evolution. If you haven't played Trials Evolution, I seriously suggest getting it. It is, it's a really well thought out game. It takes a very simple concept of just driving, and it kind of turns it into this fun, like, oh, like you're on the tip of your toes. Will I make this obstacle? Will I be able to clear this rock? And the amount of times you would spend trying to get over an obstacle is insane, especially at the higher levels. Like, I remember one time I think it took 80 tries of doing the same obstacle before I cleared it, only to fail at the next obstacle. So it takes some skill. I mean, if you're going to really get far into the career, I guess you would call it. Yeah, it takes some skill. It does not deviate at all from the original Trials, nor does it deviate from the previous one, Trials Fusion. It's the same game. Rising is the same game. Trials Rising is going to be Trials as we know it. New tracks, new challenges, but same mechanics, which is cool. It's not meant to be oh yeah, bash this game because the mechanics haven't changed. It's really not that big of a deal that the mechanics haven't changed that much. You expect it to be a platformer motorcycle game, and that's exactly what it is. So those are all games that are coming out in February, which is, from this podcast, that is 3 days from now. So just keep an eye out. I mean, if you liked what you heard in any of those trailers, I would suggest, taking a look, because what you see in the trailers is different from what you hear, and you might be more or less interested based on that. So again, just a recap in case you didn't catch the name of one of the games. The first one I did was Anthem. Far Cry New Dawn was the second one. Trials Rising was the third one, and then we did Metro Exodus was the third one, and then I just talked about Trials Rising. Let's go on and talk about some free games, because why pay for a new game when you can get one for free, right? Division 2 is a new game coming out. If you are a PC gamer and you have an AMD graphics card or a processor, you're most likely getting some kind of email alerts from AMD, where they're giving you beta access, at least a chance for beta access, for Division 2, so you can try out the game. Completely free. You just make sure you check your email. If you're not really up to checking emails, you might want to actually take a look, because I've already signed up. I mean, if it's a free beta key, why not? Why not try it, Especially if it's a game you're already considering getting, might as well try it. Jackbox Party Pack. This is one I haven't played. I'm going to be real with you. I offer it in my free game segment because it is a free game. There's zero risk and as much reward as you want to play. Jackbox Party Pack is a social game that involves a group of people. It's a couch game. So you invite your friends over, and it has, think of like Mario Party, right? So you have a bunch of different mini games that you would play, and you can, I think it said you can have up to 100 people at some point, and you could do like little trivia or quiz games. It's just kind of fun if you bring over people and they're like, oh, what do we do? We're kind of bored. Well, now you have a free game. Maybe you guys can, try it out. It's if you want to know where it is through the Epic Games launcher. So if you've played Fortnite on PC, you have the Epic Game launcher. I mean, it's a given. There's no other way to get Fortnite. Just go in there and you can get the free game. No extra sign up. It's just with your Epic Games account, and then there you go. You got it. Retro game of the day. This is a topic I am very excited for because I love my retro games. I'm going to play a little bit of the retro game theme, or at least one of the themes of the level. And maybe you can kind of guess within the first 5 seconds before I give you the answer here. This is Toontown. Toontown. That is a game I spent my childhood on. So Toontown is a MMO developed by Disney, and it was released officially in 2003. How many years was that? That was 16 years ago. So that is a old game compared to how long most people play a game. So it was a really fascinating game. It was, of course, geared more towards a younger audience. It was a Disney game, but I think it was the pinnacle of Disney MMOs. They had all kinds of different ones. They had Pixie Hollow, Pirates of the Caribbean, but Toontown was like the shit. Like if you were a kid in 2003 to 2010, if you didn't play Toontown, what were you doing with your life? You know what I mean? But actually right, because Toontown was so popular at some points that you couldn't even get on without crashing your computer. Well, not literally, but there were so many people on the server that just getting around was a pain. But it was a fun pain because you had all kinds of different peoples from all walks of life talking, and of course there was like safe chat because it's a Disney game. But you know, you could talk to people, and it was like a real MMO experience. I didn't get too far into the game, even though I played it for hours on end when I was a kid. I feel like that was just because maybe I didn't understand the mechanics of an MMO, especially the grinding, so I wasn't really efficient with my grinding. But nevertheless, I really suggest you guys check it out, and believe it or not, it's still open. The official one is closed by Disney, but the Toontown Rewritten is still going. So, Toontown Rewritten is a fan-based re-release of Toontown Online, which was the official Disney. So basically, fans after the closing of Toontown, and I want to say 2013, correct me if I'm wrong, they said, it was either 13 or 15, I think. They said, okay, well, people still like this game, so why don't we the fans, remake it? So they remade it, and they called it Toontown Rewritten. It's not rewritten in the sense of new coding. It's pretty much copy-paste. I mean, that's okay though, because that's what people want, is the original game. So you could try it out. There's not that many people. I mean, you could probably get a couple thousand. I mean, it used to be tens of thousands that would play, but you get a couple thousand people, and just go on the most populated server, and you could kind of experience, if you used to play that game, you could kind of experience it again. And if you're like wondering, what is this game? I never even heard of it. You can go try it out. It's fun. It's just a nice, innocent fun. There's too many games where it's like kill, 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 stab. Sometimes it's okay to just take a step back, you know, and just enjoy some games that are a lot more lighthearted. So, now we're going to get into the hot topics of the day. I call them hot topics because they're things that are happening right now, or at least in the near future, that could be of some importance to the gaming community. So, first one I want to talk about is, will the handheld market take over gaming? And I know some of you guys are like, oh, what the hell, and there's no way, you know, why would people play on a phone when people could just sit at home on their nice comfy couches and play? Well, according to the stats, that is not the way that most people think about it. Mobile gaming is exploding. Think of how many commercials you've seen of Candy Crush Saga, Clan of Wars, War of Clan, War Clan of, all different variations of these mobile games that are just taking the world by storm. And that leads to the question, when will gaming make a leap to the fully mobile market and stray away from the more traditional form of gaming, sitting at a chair or a couch or a bed, where it's at home, you play it, and then when you leave the house, you go into the real world, and that's it. You don't play games. Now, handhelds are not new by any means. Game Boy, that was a long time ago. DS, that was also quite a bit ago, so it's not like this is a new thing. But the power of handheld devices is what I think is really what's stirring up the question of, is there really a difference anymore between mobile gaming and console gaming? It used to be mobile gaming was the half-assed, half-baked version of a full-fledged console game. Think of, I believe it was Modern Warfare. Fun game, right? That is until I believe you played on the DS. I could be wrong, but it could have been the Wii, but I'm pretty sure they had one for the DS where it was just like, this isn't the same. The power is not at a high enough level to where you can enjoy the game like it's meant to be played. So that's why console gaming has had such a strong hold on the gaming market compared to mobile. Now we have tablets that can run faster than most people's computers can. We have phones that are faster than those tablets. We have even the Switch. Switch, yeah, it has its little docking station, play the game at the dock, at home, whatever, but it's still a very fully functional gaming device when you take it out there wirelessly, not connected to any power sources, not connected to a display. It's like its own handheld device, you know? It's really not much more than that, but it still plays all the games that people want to play. And if the question is, if I could play this game anywhere with this handheld device, why would I have a at-home console? And I like at-home. PC is kind of hard to lug around a giant PC, but I could see the benefits of mobile gaming. It's mobile, you can play whenever you want, convenient, inexpensive, because if you're going to buy a phone for talking, it's what, let's say $300. Let's just give that for a general phone. We're not going like iPhone X bullshit on it with like $1,000, but just your average phone is quite capable at doing what a laptop does, and if it can play all these games, I mean, why even get a PS4? I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, if you really think about it, with how fast technology is advancing, I could see that mobile devices are going to be the next generation of gaming. I don't want to see that, but facing the truth, that is probably what's going to happen. It's just something we gotta kind of conform to. I don't think it's gonna happen like super soon, but in the next few years, I imagine we'll see some pretty crazy developments. I think, for instance, a lot of people aren't kind of with this, but the NVIDIA Shield. I think it was NVIDIA's idea of making a PC the size of a PSP, so you can do PC gaming, like real PC gaming with great graphics, with the full game. It's not botched down to include any kind of like, oh, this is a mobile only kind of bug fix where we have to turn the graphics down to ultra low. It's the real deal. It never caught on. I mean, they are a graphics card manufacturing company, so they have their audience geared towards PC gamers, but PC gamers want to play PC, not mobile. So they were kind of like stuck in a little rut there, like, where's our audience? But I don't know. I mean, you guys could go ahead and in the comments and kind of talk about it too, you know. Will it take over? Will we always be here at home playing our games? Or is it going to be a mixture of both? I mean, that could definitely be the idea, but eventually one side's going to win. And that brings me to the next topic. Are consoles going to be more like PCs? So, with a console, it was, back in the day, it was very obvious the difference between a console and a PC. You have the console, right? Playing games only. You have the OS, proprietary OS, within the console. PS2 had its own OS. Well, it wouldn't necessarily be operating system, but it had its own form of, it didn't run Windows, for instance, right? Xbox had its own proprietary Xbox software. They played games, that's all they did. Nothing else. You could play a DVD sometimes. PS2 lets you do that. Play a Blu-ray in the PS3. I guess the fat PS2 even had the capability of installing Linux. But for mainstream gamers, you had a console which played games, you had a PC which did everything else. Now, you have consoles like the PS4, Xbox One that do a lot of PC-like tasks, and that's what leads me to the question, where does the line end between console and PC, or is it going to blur into where they're both kind of the same? I mean, you can do YouTube, you could do Netflix on a console, you can have video chats, you can do messaging, you can obviously play games. I haven't really touched the new consoles that much, but what I've seen is there's a lot of the same on console as there is on PC. And Xbox One even uses a slightly modified version of the Windows 10 operating system. So they're even starting to share operating systems in a sense. That's why if you have an Xbox One, you can do some kind of game casting with your Windows 10 PC. They're really compatible. That's the point I'm trying to get at, is that where is the line between, okay, this is a gaming console and this is a PC? So I personally believe that consoles are going to take over the PC in gaming in a lot of senses, because why would you buy a very expensive PC setup with I mean, let's be real, you can make a decent build for $500, whatever. But why would you get a desk, monitor, keyboard, mouse, plus the tower with everything inside? I build my own PC, so I know it can be pricey. You have components that change their prices based on market changes. You know, let's say there's I'm just giving a random example, a huge hurricane in Taiwan. They make a lot of our semiconductors. Boom, prices of a lot of components just went up. Or would you rather just get a PS4, an Xbox One? They kind of do the same thing, and you can get that with a controller, with a game or two, the whole system for $300-400. I mean, in a value-oriented mind, that sounds like a better deal. I mean, at this point, why don't they just have consoles that can do word processing, you know? And there's, of course, some limits. I'm not saying consoles are going to be a PC. I'm saying they're going to be very, very similar to where, hey, why are you doing that on the PC? You could just do that on the Xbox. Why are you watching Netflix on the laptop? You have your PS4 right there. They're going to get very similar, though. And I'm kind of actually glad for that, because a lot of developers have to develop 3 different games. They have to develop a game for Xbox, the same game with different coding for PS4, and again the same game with different coding for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So I'm kind of actually like, you know, this isn't such a bad idea if they kind of start merging, because then the developers have a much easier time of working with all of them at once since they're so similar. But yeah, go ahead and write in the comments what you think. Are consoles going to keep getting more like PCs, or are they kind of hitting the end of that road with the whole YouTube, Netflix, video, chat? That's it. That's as far as they're going to take it. But that concludes our first little episode of the Digital Desert Gaming Podcast. I really hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I will be doing these every Wednesday, along with my other podcast, which is going to be more general topics on Monday. So just stay tuned. If you like it, you know, give it a share, do whatever you want. I'm mostly just kind of doing this for fun, so I'm not looking to make a crazy business. So I'm not going to ask you guys to, you know, send me money and, you know, view my ads. I don't really care, honestly. I'm just kind of doing this more for fun, something I want to do to kind of get myself out there a little bit. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Leave some tips and tricks, you know, if you've kind of been in the podcast business or you've seen a lot of podcasts, maybe something you want to see more, maybe something you want to see less. But other than that, you guys have a great rest of your night, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast.